smoke on this.
Episode 5 of Facing the Crowd podcast with none other than Rex Brown, founding member and bass player from Pantera. He's also worked in a lot of metal supergroups, including Kill Devil Hill, Down, Crowbar, and he's got his solo albums. Welcome to the show, Rex.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, how you doing?
Good, man. I'm doing well. Let me turn you down real quick. Can you hear audio fine?
Yeah, all good.
We
All good. We can hear you.
I see your little picture there of you in your shades.
You know, they make it. I had a big mask on there, and I used it for the. I did have Zoom on my phone, but anyway, fuck it. Here we are.
Yeah, it's all good.
Where are you guys located? So I know kind of where you're at.
So we're in Southend-on-Sea in Essex,
England.
in England,
just outside London.
not far from London, about 45 minutes from
Outside
London.
London.
Yeah.
Very, very cool, dude. I love
We're the
London.
Essex boys, Rex.
I haven't been to London and oh man, has it been? It's been 5 or 6 years. Always a favorite. Yeah, man, staying down in Soho. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
You've been to the Crowbar. I can only imagine you have a few times.
Carnaby and dude, I think the last time I was there, I was with we were playing. Well, when was this? It was like 2010. One of my last shows with Down.
Okay.
And we were staying. I can't remember the name of the hotel, but for lunch we got there early, checked in the hotel, and we were kind of waiting for rooms. One of those things that you got to wait till a certain time. So me and Pepper go grab lunch, and I'll be damned if there's not like Glenn Hughes sitting there, and he invited us to sit down and have lunch with him. And about that time, about 30 minutes later, here comes Dusty and Billy from ZZ Top.
No way.
Oh, wow.
And so, poor Glenn. I've known Glenn for a long time, like 93 or something like that. Yeah, maybe before that. And anyway, Billy sits down, man, and once he starts going, you can't stop him, and Pepper knew exactly what buttons to push. Like, he wears this keychain around his neck, and so anyway, Pepper goes, "What's that key?" He goes, "Well, this is a 1954 fucking, and poor Glenn just got up and excused himself. He didn't, he wasn't in for a Billy Gibbons session. So me and Dusty in the afternoon, I don't know why I'm telling you this, guys.
That's great.
Because that's probably it's just one of those rock and roll stories. So me and Dusty went, and it was around the time that I hadn't been, man, it had been like 3 years that I didn't drink on the road. I was just completely sober, hanging around a fucking crazy dudes from Down. Kirk putting his putting his whole weight of his head on my shoulder when we're playing shows so he doesn't fall down. That's how fucked up he used to get. So anyway, that weekend there was just too much cool shit going on. I go, Dusty goes, "Let's go have some beers around the corner. I know a fucking perfect little pub, and I'll be damned if we just didn't go." And we had a day off that day, which is great. So we went down to Senor Frogs. I don't know if that's still down there. Froggies, you know what I'm talking about? The jewelry.
I don't know that one.
No, we know the Crowbar. We've been in the Crowbar a few times. Did you ever go in there, Rex?
Yeah, I heard Jimmy Bower's interview with y'all about the Crowbar. I remember Jimmy Bower and the Crowbar and that motherfucker, man. You talk about, he would just be like, literally drool would be coming out the side of his fucking mouth. Everybody would buy us fucking free drinks. But, I couldn't, in those kind of situations, like Philip and I, we couldn't move. It's like, we're just trying to watch whatever's going on, and just trying to find, and there's no place to really have any privacy in that joint,
Yeah, no, of course.
So if you go to the, man, I remember standing many a time by trying to get a fucking taxi right across the street, right there in the middle of the road, drunk out of our minds till 3 or 4 in the morning, not being able to catch a ride. It's like it's like the lose. What do you call those guys?
Well, the minicab driver Uber guys.
The cabbies. What do you used to call them, Lou or? Anyway, the cabbies, dude, they would just drive right past you. They didn't want long hair. They didn't want long hairs in the fucking cab.
It's just behind the main road, isn't it? That's the problem with it. It's not on the main Tottenham Court Road. Right. So yeah, not as.
Anyway, yeah.
Do you remember that? Do you remember those shows well, then, Rex? Like the Evening We're Down. Do you remember them well?
I remember shows a lot better than like the stuff that happens after.
Yeah.
They're down, we got really, really tight, and then we could get as loose as it could possibly get, which was cool too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what it's about. I mean, I remember those shows so well. We were at those shows, the Evening We're Down at Astoria, and all I remember
was it the Astoria? I think we recorded that show.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, some's on the DVD.
I think it's on that Diary of a Mad Band.
That's right. But it was so hot you couldn't breathe in there. The air conditioning was backed up.
I remember that.
Everyone was just taking their clothes off.
Dude, I remember that night. It was fucking like the second song. I was fucking completely just doused. It's like man.
You guys were tight.
Yeah, from listening to that thing with Jimmy, it brought back a bunch of memories of playing Download that morning, like at noon or 1 or something like that.
You were like the surprise band, weren't you? Were you the surprise band?
Yeah, and we were mighty surprised to fucking see where we were parked compared to.
You parked in Coventry or something?
Dude, we were parked in like fucking 6 miles away.
My God.
And like, I woke up at like 10:30 or 11. We had to go on at 12, and I didn't have walkie-talkie. I didn't have shit. Yeah. I think it was just me and Kirk on the bus, and we just, I guess we just got stuff off the bus, and then we would catch rides. I think we caught a ride with somebody, another band saw me or somebody like that, and finally got us to the stage. Yeah. It was quick, and I think that was we had been rehearsing. I can't remember if that was probably the first of the tour or maybe the middle. I can't remember. That was quite a while ago. But yeah, man. That whole run that we did in 2005 was one of my favorite tours, because we only did I think we did maybe 3.5, 4 weeks, and went just to get a feeling of how everything was going to go. We went and did Paris and fucking sold that out. What's it called? The Bataclan or whatever.
Bataclan, yeah.
And
obviously that place is notorious now.
And of course, the fucking shit, dude. When I saw that, when it came over the news, I was just like, I played that place so many fucking times.
Yeah.
Like the back of my hand. Yeah, but they were showing pictures of it, and it for me, they had changed it up quite a bit.
Right.
I guess. But anyway, we went and did this whole, just trying to get that. I wanted to go. I said, let's just take the band to Europe and see what fucking happens. See if we still have any girth. See, So we recorded our asses off and just decided to go to Europe. And dude, we sold out of fucking t-shirts to fucking, Philip would run sets. I mean, we were playing Paris, and now I remember that fucking place. And it was so fucking hot in there. And it was towards the start of the tour, and we played for about 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm telling you, me and Kirk were dying. We were on the farthest place, and we couldn't get any wind. It was to the point where everybody was just fucking like kneeling on one leg, and Phil just kept on calling songs.
Yeah.
And that's how you prep a band,
Yeah.
I was like, man, look, let's get to the fucking encore, because I'm fucking done. And I've never said that in my life,
So is that the way you guys have always worked? Does Phil always just shout the songs out and then you just play them? Is there not like a set list in place?
There was a set list in place, but then we would go back and but you know, he would, back in those days, he was still in that long rant in between songs.
Oh yeah.
And you know, sometimes those would go 15 fucking minutes. So by the time you do your set, you're 2.5 hours in, and if you start throwing songs in, in fact, some of the stuff that we didn't even rehearse, and thank God I knew the catalog, you know, like the first record. But
yeah, sure, of course.
but we would drag, you know, we would drag different parts of like the second record, because, you know, when we did that second record, it was it was one of those kind of records that it makes you want, you know, the songs makes you want to, like, we wanted to make those like 7-8 minutes long, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, they're proper
So
jams.
it had it, you know, that was a cool band, you know. Philip just didn't, you know, Philip and Pepper, you get those two strong-headed fuckers together, man. It's like, well, are we gonna work or are we not? You know.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it was up and down. Philip has so much stuff that he wants to do, so, you know, I can understand that from an artist's perspective, but at the same time, I mean, let's either do this or should get off the pot, and I finally did.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Rex. So when you you know, you was younger, you was in a jazz band. How did that turn into getting into heavy metal and following that route? It's obviously totally different.
It wasn't necessarily like you went and joined, you know, like got a band together to play jazz. We went to school band. That I was very fortunate enough to grow up in an era where there was still music and, say, like choir and you know, like bands and lab bands is what we called them, LAB, lab bands. And so that's how we kind of learned, you know, and the teachers were all into more jazz. I mean, that's what they liked listening to, and teaching jazz to a young kid exposes you to all kinds of stuff where you can open up to improvisation. That's what jazz is, pretty much. It follows the main formula. But so anyway, I didn't go to junior high with Vinny. We didn't live far apart, but I was district to another school. And so when we got into, but we knew who each other were because we were both the head of our, like, he played the snare drum in the drum line, and his school had a phenomenal teacher, just like the ones that we did, and I played tuba, so we were in, it was called UIL, and it was you know, like everybody from the city, all these gifted kids would get together, so I knew who Vinny was. And then when I turned 15, I went into high school, and that's when I really met Vinny and that whole Vinny and his brother was only fucking 13, you know, didn't even know how to play guitar then. And so Vinny was playing drums in the lab band, and this lab band that we played in was like when you got to the senior level, every year they got to go to Montreux, you know, the Montreux Open Jazz Fest there in Switzerland. And so the teachers were just fucking, they were downright, man, we go over to their house and fucking blow joints and, you know, drink a beer or two and just listen to old records, like Coltrane and, you know, and listen to Charlie Parker and all this crazy shit. It was really, you know, it opened your mind to all kinds of different stuff, you know, man.
Yeah.
I grew up more as a Zeppelin fan than I was, you know, Zeppelin and Kiss growing up, and Vinny was more into I don't know, I want to say more when Pantera formed the year before I got in the band, they were playing more Loverboy kind of top 40 stuff. And then we started listening to heavier stuff. Of course, Metallica's record came out shortly after that, first record, and the whole scene, the new wave of British heavy metal came, and we finally found it at this little local record store. And there was only, you know, maybe a handful of fucking kids that even knew who some of these bands were. Yeah, you know, but that was before you could even get like a Kerrang or anything in 1980 or even close, you know. So here comes a new sound, you know.
Yeah.
But we were still playing in the clubs, and we had to play those fucking top 40 shit fucking songs, and just to get up enough, just because that's what you had to do if you wanted to play, you know. You wanted to play at clubs.
Yeah,
because there really wasn't
all the great massive bands like Aerosmith and the Stones, they all started off as covers bands, right? All the big bands like Aerosmith and, you know, obviously like, you know, they all started off as covers bands.
Absolutely.
Yeah, playing cover tunes.
I think if the Aerosmith covered the Stones so good, they were like the second, the America's fucking Stones, because that's all they played. But I grew up more of the hippie rock than metal, so to speak. It's funny, like every day I'll go back and I'll look at something, or I'll hear some song in my head from afar, or be in a TV commercial or something. I'll go back and like listen to. I was listening to the fucking Doobie Brothers this morning.
Nice.
And I was going, man, I forgot about all those cool fucking songs they had before they got Michael McDonald in the band.
What's that train song? Long Train Coming?
Yeah, Long Train Running.
Mate, what a tune. That riff.
Yeah, man. It's fucking amazing. And so, yeah, in fact, I listened to that this morning. I was going to blow. I can't believe you said that. That's fucking awesome. So, yeah, man, it like with the Voice, I kind of hung around the older crowd that turned me on to more, like Steely Dan shit than say, Sammy Hagar. So I was more in tune with that style of music than I was, but I love playing metal because it's such a fucking, playing the bass in a metal band is so much different than just, you got to find your own style with that. And I listened to, Ace of Spades. It's fucking, when I heard that record, I heard Lemmy and his chops, his sound.
Yeah.
That, I think that's the first record that really turned my head sideways and go, that's fucking, because it's got the fringes of punk, but it's not. It's its own form of like fucking really heavy duty. Man, for me, Motorhead was a speedy fucking Black Sabbath. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the No Remorse album.
Oh my God.
And I had Overkill on the other day.
Fantastic.
My vinyl on of Overkill.
I didn't know anybody that had No Remorse. All I knew was like the day that fucking Ace of Spades came out, and I think that was like 79, 80, right? So, my buddy turned me on to it, man. He's still around trying to do metal too. God bless his soul. We call him the Godfather of metal back in Texas.
No way. That's awesome.
Yeah. Jerry Ward. Now the other one put his name out there.
You ever dabble with a bit of Credence?
Never liked him. I won't listen to this shit. I don't know why. I just think it was it's always on the radio. That political type throwing shit. Well, look, they're a good band. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just not I'm more of a fucking Zeppelin head or say Humble Pie fan than I am, that kind of 3-chord silly John CCR shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, fair enough. No, each their own, man. Each to their own.
I was a huge Foghat fan. Rod Price is God to me. Some of the fucking that kind of thump. And then I got turned on to ZZ Top, and the rest is history. I lived in a small town of about 600 people, out in the middle of nowhere till I was about 11 years old.
Yeah.
Literally, and all you could hear on the radio was like this terrible. Well, it wasn't horrible because my sister was 17 years older than I was, so I got all the Beatles, all the Stones, got all the Turtles, got all the fucking Crosby, Stills and Nash, all that that songwriting kind of stuff. Which brings me, I'll tell you, here in a second, but it comes into my daughter of how she wanted to learn music. I said, you need to go back to where it started. You know, I pulled out all, you know, my sister would give me all the Bill Haley and the Comets records and fucking, you know, Chuck Berry and shit like that. And that's where you start, you know. And then I wanted to turn her on to the songwriters like Carole King and female artists like Laura Nyro and stuff like that, to get her, and then she could follow her own path. She could go into Stevie Nicks, and from Stevie Nicks go into Pat Benatar's, and but follow the lineage of how these girls got there, you know. And she's got a fucking beautiful ear and plays amazing guitar. So anyway, you know, my whole thing was like when ZZ Top came on the radio, dude, and it was Tush, and it was fucking, it was just, it's like my head just exploded. It was another one of those, you know, epiphanies of my life. ZZ Top, then Motorhead, you know, or Pat Travers in between, you know.
Yeah. No, amazing. Let's touch it for a second on obviously your solo work, man. Smoke on This. What an album! What an album!
You know, it wasn't bad for first record. You know, for the first solo thing you're doing and seeing, well, do I have a voice? Can I do it? You know,
100%.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Do you know what I love about it as well? The production on that album, like when like the bass drum hits and the bass hits, it punches you in the chest. The production is amazing. Yeah,
me and Williams, the drummer on there, he plays for Accept now.
Oh, okay.
I love Accept.
He's a monster. He's a monster. In fact, he's the one that put me in touch with the producer. I'd gone to Nashville just to get the fuck out of LA. That's where all my stuff was. And I was getting away from that Kill Devil Hill stuff. That was going nowhere.
Right. Again, two great albums, I've got to say.
Even though, you know, they're great records and all that kind of stuff, it was a time during the music business where, hell, you couldn't get fucking arrested if you got arrested, you know? So I just moved all my stuff to Nashville and found some really cool people to kind of jam with. And that's where this whole slew of the coolest people of LA moved out to Nashville, or, you know, all the agents. Nashville became the hub here, you know, for entertainment. So I had a buddy that had just moved there about 6 months before I came down. He goes, why don't we write a couple tunes, you know? And I'd done some of previous stuff with them in this band called Arms of the Sun that never did anything. We never toured or anything else, but he was a brilliant songwriter. And so we worked out that first record, and, you know, it took about a year, but we finally did it. You know, I like to go and do about 4 or 5 songs and then take about a 2-month break and then come back and then refresh them and then do another 4. And that's how I make records.
I like the way that no song sounds the same on that album, Rex.
Wait till you hear this new one, dude.
When's it out? Is there a release date, Rex?
This new record, man, I've been in the can for about a year.
Okay.
But I still think it's relevant. You know, it's one of those where I had a bunch of stuff and I was just going through my phone and just found all these riffs and went, these are kind of where I think, man, it's like, you know, when you're an artist, you know, and you've been playing metal for, I don't know, it's probably 35 years, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I left a lot of shit out because, you know, in between that I went to Down, which is a total sludge fucking core band, you know, which I loved. But I was looking for something else. And so the songs on this record, this one is just as sturdy, if not sturdier than the last one. It's got a lot more melody. The voice is so much more, you know, it's grown into its own. And I'll put it this way: it's more introspective record than, say, the first one. It still rocks, but, you know, like I was saying, as a musician, if you're just playing metal and that's all you do, you know, you're never going to go anywhere as a musician, learning all this stuff. And, you know, breaking the guitar out and playing guitar again has always been a passion of mine since I was a kid. You know, and played all the way through my whole career. But I was more, you know, I'm a bass player, you know, for better or worse. Bass player, arranger, that kind of thing, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're obviously a very competent guitarist as well. You know, as you show on the album.
Well, thanks.
Fantastic.
I just play rhythm guitar. I'm a couple of leads here and there, but
So Rex, have you got plans to maybe play this once the second solo album's out? You know, maybe come to London and play both those albums.
Absolutely. I just got fucking brand new spanking goddamn red hot management. Speaking of ZZ Top, they manage ZZ Top. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, we you know, it's just this whole pandemic thing has put everything on hold.
Yeah.
You know, dude, how I miss going to shows. I miss fucking playing. You know, I'm really, really itching because, you know, usually I get on a plane and go to Nashville every 3 months, you know, keep my chops up, write a tune, whatever I've got to do, whatever I feel like, you know. Hell, in between the thing with the first record, the reason.
Yeah, we're there.
I'm up in the mountains, guys, so forgive me. The reception is spotty. The reason I really didn't tour that first record to death is because I didn't want to play cover tunes.
Right,
You know, I'd already done that for 7 or 8 years of my career, and I was like, I don't have enough material. So with the second one, I got plenty of material to go off of, and then, you know, I'm back in shape again. You know, In between, you know, these 2 records, I recorded probably enough for probably another record, and then I have a whole. I went in and did a EP or more than an EP, but like eight cover tracks, just for fun. You know, I was just bored and wanted to do something like that. So it's one of those things where I've got all these leftover. You know, I've got tons of fucking songs, and they just keep coming out, which is good.
Those cover tracks. Any names on those cover tracks?
Oh, I did a Tom Petty off of the Mojo record. I should have known it, which is on this new record. I did a Pretender song of all fucking things.
Oh, I saw them at Glastonbury.
And see what else I did. Saturday Night Fever, Saturday Night Special by Leonard Skinner. I did. Oh shit. I can't remember. I have to look. There's a bunch.
Good tracks though.
I did Bitch by the Stones. I did, you know, shit that I just want. I thought like, well, let's just put an EP out of just covers, you know, so we can maybe hit the road. And that's when the record company, they had front loaded that record so hard that they just, man, they didn't do any more with it. You know what I'm saying? They just said, well, if you don't have any tours, we're just not going to support it. And that's when I went, fuck the music industry altogether. I'm getting my own label. I'm finding this distributor, you know. So that's what's happening now.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are finding that's the way to go now, really, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it's the only way you can make any money, or, you know, have any support. If you got somebody that's going to manufacture, distribute, and package the thing, you know, yeah, I've got a really cool guy at BMG, the guy that does all the Foo Fighters stuff.
It sounds like an evening with Rex will happen in the near future.
Yeah.
The WRECKS Records is in motion.
We can all hook up in the Crowbar. So, Rex, your deal with Prestige guitars, how's that going? I mean, the guitars are beautiful.
Which one?
Like the Prestige, like the Les Paul looking one. That's the one I've got my eye on.
I checked this shit out. I went to Nashville right before this pandemic hit.
Yeah.
Like the end of February. And they gave me a whole tour of the fucking factory, filmed it, everything else. We're building, I've got 5 models coming out with those guys of all Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds, sweet.
Classic old, like, man, we've got one from 67, a reverse. It's fucking just badass as shit. I'm waiting any day now for the prototype for the custom. So yeah, we're kind of timing the record release of what Gibson wants to do. Yeah. Because you get more bigger, you know, the bigger bang for the buck all around the fucking world, you know. with these guys. So, like, you know, I'm finished with everything. All I have to do is like, just got artwork. I've got everything I need, you know. So it's just, you know, look, it doesn't look like anybody's going to hit the road till probably into next summer.
No,
you
that's
know,
right.
officially, and I don't want to put anybody at risk, you know, especially the fans. You know, the fans, for me, the fans have been everything.
Yeah.
And I've always tried to give credit where it's due, but, you know, I wouldn't be shit without those guys. The same time, I got off Facebook about 2 years ago, man. I just couldn't take the shit anymore. So I get somebody to do all my stuff on Facebook.
Yeah, no, fair play.
But it kind of alienates you, you know, because you're not on there. You're not seeing kind of what's happening. And I'll take that. You know, I don't give a fuck. I'm on Twitter and I'm cool with it. You know,
well, it worked out well for us with contacting you, didn't it? So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you're talking to the fans right now.
Yeah, we are to the fans.
Hey man, I'll tell you this: if knowing that you guys were fans and listening to that Jimmy Bauer thing, I go, you know what? Let's don't go through official channels with this. Let's just fucking do it. You know, I found it much cooler to just hang out with somebody instead of going, oh, let's make this proper and. Yeah, man, dude, I've done so many fucking interviews. I just like to talk, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're just saying, keep firing away, boys.
I've got to say to you, Rex, when you worked with Jerry Cantrell, Alice in Chains on Boggy Depot album, how was that working with him? Is he an old buddy? That must have been pretty sweet.
It was cool. We, you know, I went up to Seattle. We had a break in between. It was the very end of the Great Southern Trendkill tour, and Jerry called me up and says, man, I got these tracks, let me send them to him. I listened to them. I was like, so who else playing on it? He goes, well, I wanted you to play on, you know, this one, and that one. But I went up to Seattle. We rehearsed the whole record for about a month.
Yeah.
Then I came home for a month, and then we went up to Sausalito D, and stayed on these fucking these goddamn houseboats, right in the fucking harbor in San Francisco. And so they had a very different working schedule than what I did. I like to go in and fucking, while I'm there, it's album time, you know, everybody get to work by noon or 1, you know. And Jerry wouldn't show up for like 3 days sometimes, but you know, it was fun. It was fucking fun.
Yeah, sitting on a boat in the San Francisco. What is it? Alcatraz, isn't it? I went over that Golden Gate Bridge once, and I was trying to get a flight back to England, and it was like Monday morning, and it was like total mist, and I couldn't fucking see Alcatraz. It was so misty on a Monday morning in the rush hour. I couldn't even see the thing.
In the fog? Yeah.
Yeah, it was in the fog because I was just trying to get back to the airport from Vegas, and that's the only time I ever saw it.
Man, San Francisco's a trip, you know. They've got all kinds of cool fucking joints. We used to go in the city like at least, you know, twice a week because we were out there in the Bay, you know, on the other side of San Francisco, kind of going up north, not across, just north of Golden Gate. So, you know, it probably took us 30, 45 to get downtown. But man, there's all kinds of fucking crazy shit down there, you know. We had a really good time doing that record. In fact, I ended up playing a lot more than I thought I was going to play on it. But then Dime called and he goes, you know, Dime sent me a fax and he called me. He goes, dude, we got a fucking live record coming out. You need to get home.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, what am I going to do? What am I going to tell Jerry? You know, and it, as it turns out, he just got on and has to come up and finish the record. But you got to do what you got to do, right? You know.
Yeah.
I don't think he toured that record. The same reason I didn't tour my first record. You don't have enough fucking material, and you don't want to play. You know, look, if I wanted to, I could have started a Pantera tribute band years ago. You know, but who the fuck wants to do that? I mean, I was.
There was a rumor Zach Wild wanted to.
You know what I'm saying? You want to get away from that. You want to play your own shit that doesn't sound like, you know, of course it's going to sound like a little bit like Alice in Chains because Jerry writes all the songs for Alice in
Yeah,
Chains.
yeah.
You know, so he could have probably gotten away with it, but me not being the singer, you know, I think that threw everybody for a twist when, you know, I put the record cover with the guitar over my fucking neck, and you know, it kind of threw people aback. But when you listen to the record, it all makes sense. It makes sense to me. You
Yeah,
know,
of course.
I was headstrong on just going, okay, look, I'm gonna change directions a little bit, fuckers, and just do it as drastically as I possibly could. You know, not mellowly. You know, um, it's much easier putting a guitar on and getting up and singing than it is with the bass because I'm so, you know, tuned into how that bass should go. And there's so many great bass players that have come through with the band, and you know, we showcased, and hell, I'd probably have about 3 different bands that I could call upon to go play this music if I wanted to right this second, you know.
Mm.
But we're still in lockdown here in the States. I don't know if you guys are or not, but we got it pretty bad here, man. You know, we had 1,200 cases yesterday.
Really?
Dead.
God,
Oh,
yeah.
right, you're still in the peaks.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what we saying to Jimmy. We've kind of gone over that
you,
part now.
you guys have had 13 yesterday. You know, I was kind of checking it out. You know, you see the difference between what's happening. You know,
Yeah,
America's
it's
still
scary.
such a big place, but at the same time, I don't want to get into the political part of it, but there's stuff that could have been done, you know,
Earlier, yeah.
and
Sure.
still
We had
can
the
be
same
done.
here with that.
You
People
know,
thinking that they've been
it's
sorted
it's
earlier.
the whole. Everybody's got to wear a mask, dude. It's just going to be part of life for a long while.
Yeah.
You know, you just have to get used to it and suck it up. We're never going to see this again in our lives, hopefully.
No, hopefully not.
You know,
I
and
tell
I
you what,
feel
Rex, when the peak does drop down and it does return to normal, it's amazing how quickly it turns to normal. I'm not saying it's 100% normal here because obviously loads of people have got, you know, perspective on it, but it kind of turns really quick. And also you're just going into shops and you're going to work and you're like, oh, you know, did that really happen, sort of thing. But I've
yeah.
got in the theatre.
I still the only thing that's kind of fucking with me is that I don't want to get on an airplane. You
No,
know,
no.
I think that's asking for fucking trouble. Even though I could do it, you know, I miss going and jamming. That's for sure. But until that point where I feel it's necessary to go back to Nashville, which will probably be here in 6 to 7 weeks. Um, I've got a bunch of stuff I got to do, you know.
Yeah.
Until then, I go to the grocery store and I mask up and I still wear gloves, you know, because
Yeah.
they say it doesn't, you know, it's not on surfaces. I think that's bullshit. I think that's where they're wrong. I think it still does live on that stuff, or we wouldn't have had all that problem at the very first. I had to go get tested. The whole family went and got tested here. My kids, they're twins. They drove down. My birthday was the end of July, and I didn't know they were coming. And my daughter she called and she goes, go outside and look for a package. I'm like, all right. And then I'm looking for the package. My head's down, and here they come up the walk. I didn't even see them out in the street. They parked across the street, and it just blew me away. But we were under a 14-day quarantine, which means the kids had to stay for 14 days. And during that period, one of my partner's sons, through contact tracing, tested positive. So we think that he's asymptomatic, or we would all have it. You know what I'm saying? So that it was a bad test, but it takes forever to get a test here. You know, it's not like one of these 2-day turnarounds. You got to wait 5-6 days.
Yeah.
And in the state that I live in, New Mexico, we have per capita one of the lowest death rates of anybody. They still haven't opened up restaurants yet. You know, they tried it with the bars. You know, which is just no. You know, not a good idea. not that I go to bars anyway, you know. I quit drinking years ago, but it's one of those things where it's just, yeah, it's still pretty, you know. I don't mind tight restrictions at a certain point, you know. I think that what's going on over here in America, we're having a problem with everybody is just, you know, all these protests, man. It's just,
Yeah.
you know, it's getting to the point of we're fixing to have martial law here in this place, and it's going to suck, you know. That's really going to be a terrible thing, and I hope it doesn't come down to that. But you know, I don't know if y'all been watching the news, but there was some crazy shit that went on yesterday.
Oh, definitely, yeah. The whole world's gone crazy at the moment, mate. It feels like things just get
I think
worse.
everybody's just they're pent up. You know, the frustrations are right on their sleeves. And all they have to do is figure out that we're going to have to be doing this for a while, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Fuck it.
It is what it is. You know, you just got to crack on with it.
Yeah, and look, you know, we just have to take every precaution that we can to save ourselves, number one, and also to save anybody out there that we don't know. You know,
no, that's right. Yeah, we've all got to look out for each other.
That's what I get out of it. You know, if you can help somebody else during this crisis, you know, that's the best thing you can do. We've raised, I don't know, we've raised almost $200,000 for Music Cares through merchandise from the Pantera side.
Really
you know,
good.
which is nice for charity, you know.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And that's just selling goddamn t-shirts, you know.
Yeah.
So doing your part is what you got to do, and it's yeah, man, I'm ready to go make music, you know.
Yeah, no, I bet, man. You know, I mean, you know, you've already recorded some amazing albums, and you've obviously got a lot more in you. Keep it coming.
Really, you know, it's crazy. You know, I've been in this business forever, and I told myself, like, I'm gonna go take 2 years off.
Yeah.
Bullshit. I didn't take 2 years. I took 6 months off. If anything, I had more bricks hit me in the back of the head than, you know what I'm saying, more offers coming and all kinds of stuff, and a lot of stuff I just turned down because of integrity. I've been asked by fucking a dozen bands to make millions of dollars, and I've said no just on the fact that I'm not going to do that. I don't. It's not, for me. It's not about money. It's about the integrity of what you do. You know. So that's just who I am.
Totally. So let me ask you, Rex, because what our podcast predominantly is about gigs and shows that we've been to and that other people have been to. So what we wanted to ask you, we should have asked you in the beginning, but you've been such an interesting person to talk to. We haven't asked you yet, but what were your earliest gig memories, like the earliest shows you went to and also the earliest shows you played? How did that all feel? Were you nervous?
Moscow, nervous. Yeah, Moscow. We were there for like 4 days before, you know, when all the coup was going on. And we went into the field and watched them set up the stage, and then we did a whole bunch of press, and you know, dude, there was every country in the planet there. Warner Brothers is the actual one that put on that whole show with, you know, AC/DC, Metallica, and the Black Crowes were touring together during that Monsters of Rock thing all over Europe, right?
Yeah.
So of course our tent's right next to Metallica, and we've known those guys since like 83 or 4, you know. And we had just seen them 3 years before when they were putting out Injustice and played us all those tracks and stuff like that. But Moscow was definitely, we went on about 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And, you know, look, basically at that point we were just a bar band, you know, and we tore up that, you know, you only get one chance to play Rockstar, and that was it.
Yeah.
If you're hanging with the big boys, you better do it right, you know. And
certainly did.
Obviously we
legendary.
did.
That footage is legendary.
And you know, and then there were so many great shows, you know, even when we were playing by ourselves to small crowds, that I remember, like we used to play a place in Boston called the Channel. And we had a really good fan following there, and it was a really cool little fucking metal club, man. We would just hang out, and we would always ask to go back to Boston. You know, it didn't matter what, you know. Usually it's freezing fucking cold in Boston in the wintertime, but it became one of our places. Also, like Dayton, Ohio, stuff like that. Going to the Midwest. There's some other brilliant shows that I could go on and on, man. I played before, you know, 3 people to fucking a million. You know, do you want to ask me anything specific?
Oh no, one of my questions was actually going to be, when you actually walked out on that Monsters in Moscow stage and you saw, it looked like the whole of Russia was watching you, didn't it? It went as far as the eye could see. What did you think of that moment, Rex? There's just so many people.
Well, you better get it. You better get your fucking hoofs on. You know, it's only a 30 minutes. It's only a 30-minute set, and we got together before, and you know, kind of gone through the set list hotel before we left, and just told Philip, said to run it as tight as you can possibly run it. We got to get as many songs as we possibly can. And it was, you know, that between, I'm sure at that point, I think I only had like 2 guitars, you know. I don't think we just took one, you know. So we were flying by the seat of our pants, you know. They flew all year there, but we were right in the middle of recording Vulgar when all this happened. So it, you know, basically there's probably 50 to 100 feet. Or else maybe, to 100 feet of barricade from the stage to the audience. So you could only see, you know, maybe 200 feet out. And that was the first maybe 6 rows of, and there were probably 20,000 kids in that fucking airfield of just those 6 rows, you know? So, and then, you know, looking way on, no, you didn't have time. I don't,
just,
you know, it was just so surreal, you know, or unsurreal. You were just in like this movie, you know.
It's like the great gig in the sky, but it was the great gig on earth, wasn't it? It was like everybody there.
Dude.
It's just like,
it was just so cool because it was so loud, and it was so you know, gigs like that make great bands. You know, if you can pull through something like that, and you know, I was running around the whole deck that goes out, you know, 400 fucking yards and coming back, and so they're putting the movie out, and me and Don's wirelesses at that point, you know, only went maybe 200 feet. So we were breaking up a little bit, you know, and not knowing it because of just the heat of the moment. So we had to go back in New York and like just, you know.
Oh, really? Had to touch it up, did you?
Grab the bass, you know, to fucking local music store. Hey, can we borrow this for 30 minutes and send it back to them? You know, they're just small things that you know, like the end of a tag or, you know, the end of the song. It's only one little spot, you know, that happens all the time. But we didn't fix up anything else except for dropouts, you know. So.
No, sure.
Pantera absolutely delivered that day, didn't they?
100%, mate. It's, you know, for us getting into metal and being into metal at that time, that was the holy grail, really.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
it was for me. Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about the Vulgar videos when they were being filmed at the time and stuff. Did you ever think it'd become like a cult classic amongst metal fans when you just filming like mucking around backstage? Because I mean, it's just it's a cult classic, especially over here anyway. We don't.
Yeah, we've watched them so many times.
Look, those were just our everyday lives, you know. So it's just what you're seeing on film is not made up or anything else. It's just that
was the tour,
that was our life, you know. So to me, going back and watching those things, I just get a kick because, you know, I miss the camaraderie, you know, especially with the brothers gone now, you know, especially Don. It's just, you know, it's both of them, you know. It's really kind of hard to watch, you know, sometimes, but you know, it is what it is, and you take the good from the bad, and you know, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Fucking, I'm glad they're cult fucking, it's amazing, you know.
When you're sitting there as a 16, 17-year-old on a Saturday morning with a bacon sandwich watching that, you're just looking at the stuff you used to get up to, guys, and we're just like, you know, in awe of it.
But that was us. That was
I know. I mean, dressing up as Kiss and stuff, playing on stage as Kiss.
We look, if you're going to get out there, you better have a good time. You know, there's no reason to get out there and be on the road to make yourself miserable, you know.
You made the most of it, didn't you?
and that we did that for, you know, between me and Vinny and Daryl, we did that for 20 years or more, you know. Philip came into the band 4 years later, but you know, in the end, well, we did something right, you know. It's
do you still talk to Terry?
We were in touch for a long time, and I had seen somewhere he had said some goofy shit, and I just haven't talked to him.
Right.
It just hasn't come around. I think I spoke to him after Vinny's death, but you know, nothing memorable. No, I would say, you know, when it comes down the road, you know, if he calls or I call, you know, there it is. I don't have any animosity with anybody.
No. You don't seem like that kind of guy, you know. You're just a cool, easygoing guy, you know.
Well, I try to be, you know. I try the best you can be. You know, I mean, that's just why be a miserable bastard, you know.
Rex, do you remember 1994? Pantera played Brixton. That was the first time I saw you live. Brixton Academy.
91.
94, and I saw you the same year. You did Monsters of Rock with Aerosmith in 94 as well.
Was Brian May there? I think we played the Hammers. I can't remember if it's the Hammersmith or the Brixton. All of a sudden, me and Dom shared it. Back then, you know, the dressing rooms were really small. Me and Dom always shared rooms, you know, all the way back to, you know, 82 or 3. We shared hotel rooms in those early days until, you know, we finally had enough money we could all get our own rooms. But so, you know, that was kind of the way it was, you know. Vinny and Philip were together, and I want to say this has got to be Brixton. The backstage was up. You had to go through a different place, and it was on the other end of, wasn't behind the stage. What gig is that? Is that Hammersmith, the old Hammersmith?
It could be Hammersmith because it's like no.
Anyway, we get a knock on the door, and it's fucking this big, tall guy with silver blonde curls, and immediately me and Dime fucking just fall to our knees. It's Brian May. And he goes, "Am I bothering you? Can you sign something for my son?" Just like that, as most gentlemanly, as nice as he can say it.
Oh my word.
And we go, "Please come in and lock the door behind you." You know, so he comes in with his son, and then, dude, we sit there, and you know, all we had was like a cheap bottle of whiskey and beer or whatever, and we sat and talked to Brian for, I would say, an hour and a half.
Yeah.
You know, while everybody was trying to get us, you know, we had to go meet and greet and go do all this kind of stuff. There was no way anybody was getting in that door. Period. And in fact, I still had the little pence that, you know, he plays with those your pennies there.
Yeah.
The pences, or sterling. What are they called? I think they're pence, whatever the fuck.
Right.
The little small fucker that he plays with. And so anyway, I still have one. It's in my bag. I can pull it out right this second.
That's crazy.
One of your rock gods, yeah, Rex.
Now that's dude. You know, fucking Queen. You know, Jesus Christ. Yeah, man.
Has there been anybody else you've met that you've just literally been lost for words? There must be more in the course of your career? People have just
Fucking Pagey, Pagey for sure.
oh,
I was a dude. I didn't know whether to go up to him and say hi or what the fuck. And Ross, thank God, Halpin was there. And Ross comes up and goes, "Man, I want you to be, this is Mr. Sir Jimmy Page."
yeah.
And I just showed him my tattoo. I couldn't speak, um, and he turned out to be just the nicest guy. In fact, I got him. That was the same gig I was talking about with Billy and them. That's where we met him. And Ian Hunter was playing. So I was trying to get, I think we went on right before Ian Hunter. And so I went to production and I went and got them one of those golf carts so you can get around. We were playing on another stage, just too far to walk. So I go get him a buggy and I go, "Ross, man, just have Pagey come on and see us." And this was down. I said, "Man, just have him come for fucking one song, please." And Ross goes, "Man, I'll try everything I can, Rex." In fact, I just ran into Ross in October and did a photo shoot with him. Fucking unbelievable. But man, it was fucking insane. When that dude shows up, oh my God. And he's just the nicest, kindest motherfucker you ever want to meet. Same thing with Brian May. Something about you guys, your the manners of you fellows. It's kind of like a Southern thing here. You have to have good manners when you're around people like that.
It's very important, sir.
As crazy as we fucking were, as drunk as we could possibly be, we would still pull our fucking manners together. And I think that's what, I think that's what has kept everything intact over these years, because we 100%. Had those set of morals, that were, even though we were debauched as fuck, and we just had to have entertainment for ourselves on the road, as much as
I suppose
we did.
During the day and that, when you're gigging every night, you've got to entertain yourselves. You've got to fill the hours, haven't you?
Yeah, sometimes you don't want to get off the bus and you're not feeling well. You got 102 fever, and you just got to do it. You got to go sign the fans shit, And then there's some nights where you can't. You need to go lay down, and there's some nights where you're the asshole, right? Because you didn't show up to fucking. Well, sorry, kiddo. I had 103 fever. I had to go, lay down for a little bit.
Yeah, whatever happens, you played the gig. That's what people are paid for. But yeah, it's amazing that you guys always went above and beyond.
Boy, we gave her hell. It was hard getting all of us on the bus. And try to move out by 6 o'clock in the morning. But we just loved it. We loved hanging out with the fans. We were fans too.
Yeah. Who's some of your favorite bands that you've actually toured with?
I mean, dude, we did so many festivals, so many. One band, I can tell you bands that I would love to tour with. But to tour with it, and let me think. We toured a whole lot with Typo because we had with Rob Zombie, and Rob. I befriended him way early on because I knew it was coming. We shared the same management company, and I knew that they were going to open up for us, even though they had, when their big record came out, ours was already finished in its completion, and anyway, but it was always fun doing that until they, the biggest thing about rock and roll that fucks with you is when you get a lot of money. That's when the problems really start in, and that's when and if you're drinking like we were. I was just watching a Leonard Skinner fucking bio or documentary, and that's where the problems all start in. And you had this big production cost, and everybody wants to put the big shit up, and we were like, fuck, just put our amps up. We don't give a fuck. Just give us the lights so you can see the fans. Were cool, but Rob wanted to take out all these fucking big anyway, we used to have fun with those guys. Typo was probably one of my favorite bands to tour with ever, and that was only for a short year. Peter, all the people that we've met over the years has just been incredible, and the support we get back, Philip would always take, obscure kind of bands like Neurosis
Yeah.
on the road with us, so we could have that kind of cool element of underground for the kids, and and I became a fan instantly seeing them on stage. Neurosis was fucking badass. Let's see who I'm trying to think. I mean, we played with so many bands. You play with some of your idols like Kiss and then you play with your peers like Metallica, and we did so many shows with those guys.
Yeah.
And even with Down, we did 2 tours with those guys. 16 months.
You get to speak to Gene Simmons much when you played with Kiss?
I didn't care to.
Yeah.
I had known Gene for, he would call my phone and leave messages on there. This is Gene Simmons. I'm in town, and I've heard you have a ladies' establishment in town. And so anyway, the minute we became popular, Gene didn't like us anymore.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? So
you think he felt threatened?
We were competition.
Yeah, of course.
To Gene. So that kind of threw a wrench into it. And, I mean, if I saw him today, I would say hi, give him a hug, but I wouldn't go out of my way to call the dude. He's just one of those kind of people. He's notorious for being an asshole. Let's see. I mean, there's tons of bands I would love to have jammed with or seen from back in the day, but we were friends with everybody, man. I'm barbecued every fucking night. Tried to, and we would just go out and buy as much fucking meat as the goddamn local market would have, and we were cooking out all day long. That's what happened around our buses or around the backstage. But it was, that's a lot of gigs, man.
Yeah, of course.
It's a lot, and that's a lot of years going back. Philip and I just remixed Reinventing the Steel, which Terry Date remixed it for us. And we were going to go up to Seattle and stay for 3 weeks. And then this pandemic hit, and I wish we could have. That would have been really fun. But like the old days, I'm listening to that record and us staying in a little fucking shitty hotel, just the two of us. That would have been nice.
You still talk a lot then?
Oh yeah, man.
That's cool.
We've been on the constantly all summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's just the version Terry did, man. Oh my fucking god, dude! It's just, man. I just got the vinyl over the weekend and listened to it, and it's fucking insane.
Oh mate, we'll be keeping our eyes open, ears open for that.
It comes out on September. Comes out on September the 18th.
Right. Okay.
So and then the vinyl comes out on that Friday afterwards. I think it's a Black Friday here in the States. So it's a three disc set.
Wow.
And I believe it's a 2-disc CD set.
Yeah.
And then with new liner notes. And then of course it's been remixed and remastered. Both the first one we remastered also. The one that Vinny did. The one Vinny, Terry didn't do this last record. So him coming back into the fold was the only, I said, look, there's only one cat that's going to be able to do that for us, and that's Terry Date. Yeah. And so I got him on the phone. I said, would you mind just doing us the pleasure? And we worked out all the negotiations together. And Terry and I see each other every year, once or twice a year. He comes through here in July's for, anyway, we're still in touch. I've been in touch with him forever. We've done some other projects that aren't out, but anyways, for filming and music scores and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I just heard the new Deftones, and it's fucking bad.
Did Terry mix that? Did Terry produce that?
Yeah.
I've heard the single, and it's awesome.
Dude, I was really amazed that they finally got to that sonic sound they've been looking for all this time.
100%, 100%. I've loved everything they've done, but
because
this single seems to have just grabbed me,
Stefan he works so hard on his guitar sounds, and he's never happy with them. And dude, if he's not happy with this, I couldn't. The guitar is so fucking huge.
Yeah.
It reminded me of a little band out of Texas back in the 90s.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It reminded me of us back in the day, and I was like, God damn,
that's awesome.
Somebody's doing it, because there's nobody else out there doing it.
No, I'll wait for that album.
I know his guitar had taken a bit of a back seat on Gore. I mean, as much as I did enjoy Gore, it felt like it needed more guitars.
Well, I mean, this is what they've been looking for their entire career, that sound. If they would have had that sound this whole time, they'd have been ferocious. It's kind of like the new Tool. I met Justin. We were in Germany a couple of years back, and anyway, he turned out to be the nicest fucker in the goddamn planet. We hung out, and he fucking. I woke up one morning and I see a foot on my bed, and I go, "What the fuck?" And it's Justin. He had just passed out on the floor with a pillow underneath his head. We had talked all night, and bass players being bass players, that's what we do, So it was, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, sure.
So what's happening with any festivals? I mean, y'all aren't doing anything, right? There's no live music.
Download got cancelled, didn't it? And
all the festivals, everything's just been put on hold really till next year.
Pretty much the same lineup.
It's a smart thing to do, guys, because if not, everybody's going to get sick again, and that's the last thing anybody wants.
Well, the thing is, like we've already sort of bought tickets for download next year, but whether it's actually going to go ahead, we don't know. Obviously, we're not going to know until near the time.
I bet it will, but I bet it won't be as early as they usually have. They usually have them, May?
Yeah, well, I think it's June.
Yeah, there's the first weekend in June.
I think you guys will be all right. In fact,
I mean, it's outdoors, isn't it?
I think that you guys over in Europe will probably open the doors sooner than America will. I guarantee you. Which means you might be seeing me a little earlier than you thought,
Yeah, man.
So we'll see what happens, man. We just cross our fingers that we don't lose any loved ones in between here and there.
No, totally. I think the rates are dropping over here, and hopefully it will be for you soon. So, it's a horrible thing we're all going through, but we just got to take it day by day, really, haven't we?
Well, and dude, you just hit it on the head. That's what you have to do. You just take it one day at a time, and it can get frustrating, and you get very anxious. But at the same time, you just have to take it. It's kind of like an alcoholic. You just got to fucking take it day by day and don't put a drink in your mouth.
Yeah, sure.
I still don't smoke weed like it's going out of fucking style. It's crazy here. And then I've got a card. I can run down to a dispensary, and they have the real medical marijuana. It's fucking insane. Crazy. So I've been partaking in the program.
Yeah, fair play, mate.
So when you come over, Rex, you have to come to Southend and play a little bar called Chinnery's. I'm just going to put that out. I'm going to put that out. Chinnery's in Southend, Essex. That's you, Rex.
Holds about 500.
You're way too big for it, mate. But please come and play.
No, dude. I like. How's the venue? Is it cool?
It's right on the seafront. It's right on the beach.
Yeah, it's right.
There's a bar outside the front, and that looks over the beach. So
in Essex,
out there after
in Essex,
Southend
on sea.
Southend.
Wait a second. So
Chinnery's.
London's right there on the.
Yeah, London's there.
Now, is that east or west?
East of London. East of London, out into the estuary, right on the end of the estuary.
I see.
Got the longest pier in the world. A pier, like the Santa Monica Pier. It's got a pier a mile long.
I know what you're talking about. I've been down there before. Yeah. We did some photo sessions down there.
Oh.
Wow. Well, dude, that'd be fucking awesome. I'd love to come to just do it, just a goddamn UK tour.
Awesome.
I think that'd be fucking rock. And you know what? Smaller joints. That's the kind of crowd I'm into. If I can play 2 nights at a place with 500 fucking people in it, sell them out both nights, you're good to go. change up set list. Those are fun gigs, you know. Hell, I'd play to anybody in my back fucking yard. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't want to risk it.
That's what music's about, isn't it? You just do it because you love it.
That's all I got, man. That's all I know how to do.
On your obviously epic journey of touring, has there ever been anywhere you played where you felt unsafe and thought, this place is super weird, I'm not coming back?
Yeah, we went down, we played, I was just thinking this the other day, and it was somewhere East Block, fucking shithole, mud up to your knees, and our toilet broke in the bus, and it was fucking and then, dude, it was the worst shit weather, like fucking rain. I can't remember where that was, probably because I don't want to remember the name of it. But it was one of those not Hellfest, but you know, one of those weird.
Well, in Eastern Europe, was it? You say?
Yeah, one of those fucking Transylvania fucking gigs.
That's Romania. That is.
That's where it was.
Was it? Romania, yeah.
So anyway, yeah, man, this place was just. I mean, you literally they gave us boots to fucking walk around in, and it was freezing cold in the summertime. And
they have a lot of wolves out there.
I'm telling you, yeah. And then look, we wore shorts and shit back then, you know. Or I mean, I wore jeans and stuff, but we were covered in mud. We had, you know, for the next week, we couldn't find a fucking place to wash your clothes over in fucking the Eastern Bloc. So, yeah, those.
What kind of time was that? What kind of year was that?
In 2009, 9.
Okay.
I think it must have been 9 because we did Heaven and Hell during 2008 and 2007, 2008. And then we did, oh, wait a second. When did Death Magnetic come out? 2008? We did that whole tour. We did that whole tour with Metallica. We did the whole world with Metallica on that record. So, except for places like, I think they went to Antarctica or some shit. We're like, no. But then we did the Ronnie James, the Heaven and Hell thing, maybe 2009. I can't remember. We did a lot of touring, man. That was almost as grueling as the Pantera schedules. And then I ended up became really good friends with Vinny Appice and have known him in Carmine for fucking ever, and started that band Kill of a Hill. And that's, you know, when Vinny left the band, I was right behind him, you know. The guys really didn't know it, but I was just trying to be cool, you know, up to a point where you just got to leave, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not working, but it's not filling your creative juices.
Hey, look, man, sometimes it just doesn't work out, you know. And I was, they were wanting me to, you know, front the band on my fucking name, and it was a band, you know. And look, I'm not paying for you guys to be out here on fucking tour. I've done enough touring in my life for fucking, you know, for the world. So, but I still talk to all, you know, every band member I've ever played in the band with, I still talk to.
Yeah, totally.
What do you say, Rex? Musically, obviously, is your proudest sort of, you know, achievement or album? Was you look back on and think that was just, you know, my finest moment, or is that yet to come with the second album?
It just, you know, in between 1993 and 94, when we put out Far Beyond, you know, we were still playing 300 dates a year in between that point. And then once that record hit #1, we were on the map, and it just, that was like a 2-year ordeal, you know, when that record came out. And I wanted to say that those were some of the funnest, probably the last of the real fun times, you know. Philip had cracked his fucking ass on that goddamn stage, jumping as high as he could. And then, you know, some things came into play, and it just wasn't. And then it got good at the end, you know, which is so crazy. Everybody said that we broke up, man. No, we just needed a break. You know, it was the boys that were, you know, that just keep wanting to keep going and going and going and going. And we're like, dude, we're burning out. You know, you don't recognize it, but, you know, the alcohol. We should have just been. Somebody should have put us in padded cells and fucking locked the key away for 6 months. We might have gotten through it, but we didn't have management to do that.
No.
Yeah, when we go to a festival and we drink for like 3 days and then we come home, we're half dead. We're like, oh God, I need a month of not going out. I can't imagine doing it for year after year, Rex. How do you do it?
No, do that fucking every day for 20 years.
Yeah.
That's the life I led. So yeah, after a while, it's gonna take a toll on you mentally and physically.
Yeah.
I've always wondered how these bands do it for that many years. Like, is it in the end you just stop and take stock of it? Do you?
Well, man, I jumped into rehab in 2003 just to fucking just kind of see what the fucking deal was. I just had small kids. I wanted to know what the fuck my problem was. I wasn't dealing with being off the road. It was. Let me just say this. Configure a light switch. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Where you can't. It's like the size of the fucking side of your house, and you can't turn it off.
Yeah.
That's what it became, and we needed to turn that light switch off just so we could regroup. Figure out we had just, with reinventing the seal, we were all in the same place, and it was a really good feeling. And then 9/11 happened, and we had to put it on hold. And then we went home. We had already finished 16 months of touring on that.
Yeah. So
when I got home, I was just like, man, I've got to figure this out. And then Philip and I did the Down record, 2002. And the guys just took it the wrong way. They seriously just took it the wrong fucking way.
Yeah.
And we said we weren't going to tour on. We're just going to record these, songs and let it be. And then an Ozfest came up, and we decided to go do it like idiots. And then after that, I just came home and I said I need a break. And so, and Philip did too, and the rest, all of us needed a break. And then, they went out with their Damage plan, and the rest is fucking history.
Yeah.
It just really kind of sucks. But you get on, you keep moving, you got to keep moving. And
you have to, don't you?
Well, it was hard, It's still, it still is kind of hard that, the guys the people you've known the most are no longer with you, known the most and the best. So,
no, of course. I mean, you went through everything with those guys, so.
Yeah, man, but it's just kind of crazy. It just it's life, and it has its incredible ups and downs and its changes, and without them, we would just be sterile motherfucking people, So I'm just enjoying playing music again and doing it the way I want to do it.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I'll turn you. I think we're probably gonna start releasing some records before Christmas. I mean, like a couple of singles, just to kind of get some buzz for them before we put the record out. So, I'll let you know. I'll keep informed. And
please do.
Hey, look, I trust you. I heard that thing you did with Jimmy, and I was like, you know what, I got to get on the horn with these guys. So, I haven't done that during this pandemic thing, just because I don't have anything to fucking promote. But this has been fun. You have any other questions?
What about doing the Crowbar record?
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
God damn.
That messy one.
That was one of those things where Kirk wanted to. I was down in New Orleans still a lot. I was going through kind of some problems at home with the old lady, and one of the first of them. And so I just went down there. We recorded that record really quick.
Yeah.
Which I think is one of the best records he had ever done. Not saying that because I was on it or, produced the thing, but I think Kurt finally started singing,
Yeah. I love that.
He's got a great voice, and he's a fucking riff master from hell.
He can play, can't he?
And of course you get me and Kurt together, it's always going to be crazy. So, it was just one of those things that I went and did for, 2 or 3 months and came home, So kind of forget about that lineage because that's right around the time that everything just went to shit. You know,
Right.
I mean, you know, the tragedy. I moved out to LA of all fucking places. Bad mistake. I should have moved to fucking Alaska. You know. But I was working at the time, and that kept me busy. I probably played 100 records when I was out there, and different names, different cats. With this producer, the guy that produced Down 2, he had moved out there. So anyway, kept me busy after Don, so I could kind of deal with shit, you know.
If you could play with any artist today, who would it be? Because when I spoke to Jimmy, he mentioned a French band called Gojira. I don't know if you've ever listened to them.
Yeah, dude, I dig them.
Yeah.
And I have for a long while. They've been around almost 20 years, haven't they?
Yeah, I think they've been around for quite a while now. Yeah.
In fact, I've got that guitar player. He's got a signature model Charvel. I have one of those guitars.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's got a really tight tone to it. I've been listening to this band called Church of the Cosmic Skull.
Oh, okay. Are they like
Trippy
a stoner band or something?
Dude. I don't know who the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Some dude turned me on to it. Fucking, it's like some Scandinavian band. It's like a cross between a Doom ABBA. It's like check it out. It's out there, dudes. It's
yeah,
crazy.
I'll certainly check it out, mate. Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Church of the
Cosmic Skull.
Church of the Cosmic Skull.
It's like this little cult fucking band.
Right.
And they're apparently fucking getting a lot of fucking hits or whatever. But anyway, yeah.
They're from Nottingham. They're from the UK.
Dude, I want to say Scandinavia, but very well could be from the UK.
Yeah, they're from Nottingham. We just looked it up on Wikipedia.
They wear like capes and shit. Dude, you gotta go watch their video.
Oh my God, they look like ABBA. There's a picture of them.
ABBA with a guitar.
That's crazy.
Have you seen that shit? It's insane. I mean, dude, you have to check this thing out.
You know I will.
They write some really fucking. It's like almost too good to be true, but in a fucking weird Charlie Manson way, you know. It's fucking but it's still melodical and cool, you know.
Yeah.
I have to ask Alexa.
You're asking me if there was one band I could play with.
Yeah.
It'd be Neil fucking Young, you know.
Yeah.
Petty's not around anymore, so you know Petty would have been my first choice, but I'm a huge Tom Petty fan, so as the whole world is. But I mean, you know, that guy was such a brilliant songwriter. I don't think we'll ever probably see another one of those guys. Then again, you never know, you know.
No. I think the whole music industry's just changed so much now, isn't it? It's hard for anyone like who's.
I mean, I'm sure there's tons of bands that I would like out there, you know, and I check the Apple Music and, you know, when it comes in every Friday night and see what bands are out there and I listen to some of this stuff. But dude, it all sounds the same to me, you know. It's like they have this one, and this is another thing that pisses me off about the music business is the genres, you know.
Yeah.
Like they have the bands that want to sound like Green Day. You know, and there's so many of those, and then there's, which I would say the Blink 182s, and I don't want to talk bad about anybody, but they're all kind of running in the same territory. Yeah, you know. As far as metal, I have no idea. I've kind of removed myself a little bit from it. Yeah. Just because it's not what I'm doing, and I did that for so long. You know. Sure. You know, you need to take a break from it every once in a while. Yeah. So every once in a while, I think a lot of guys are going back to the roots. You know, and I really kind of I've been wanting to do that for a long, long time, and hence we have the solo records. You know, I know that the one after this record that comes out is going to be much more single note, more kind of a heavy kind of a deal.
Yeah.
I feel it's time for me to do a little heavier record.
Huh?
You know, to get back to, I mean, like if you go back and check out, you know, like the first 2 fucking Aerosmith records, you know.
Yeah.
What about
The first
working
3.
with Cavalera Conspiracy? You worked on their album, didn't you? Max, obviously, he's a legend, isn't he?
Oh, dude, I showed up in the studio, and so Max goes, "Hey, glad you're here." I'm like, "Oh," I'm like, "What the fuck?" So I walk into the studio, and I brought a 5-string bass with me, and well, nobody knows what tune the, you know, the song's in. I go, "Well, guys, you just want me to?" So anyway, I just kind of tuned up and played along and found the notes and played on the track and left, and that was about the whole thing. I mean, that was it.
Yeah.
I think I saw Igor and said hi, and that was they just pulled me down. That's the last I've talked to those fellas.
Wow.
And then it was just strange.
Delivered.
Yeah.
It was weird. It's like they had the guitar player came in and said, "Oh, well, this is dropped. It's in this weird, and this tuning I've never fucking heard in my life." And they were dropped so fucking low that thank God I did bring the 5-string. But I think I just single noted everything. You know?
Yeah.
I forgot I played on a bunch of shit. I'm glad you guys are bringing it up.
And I just remembered you being on that album. It's actually a good little album, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We saw them.
What's that?
We saw them play that album, Cavalera Conspiracy, at one of the.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Yeah.
With Igor.
Yeah, Max and Igor. They did the album. Obviously, we've seen Soulfly as well with Max, and the legendary gig we saw with Pantera, Sepultura, and Aerosmith at Monsters of Rock. That was like the pinnacle when I was.
You know what? I went out in the crowd that night. You know, Killed Over Hill played, and I played with played with the Illegals. And I went out and watched Aerosmith from the board. And it was fucking nuts, dude. Okay, hang on. So here's y'all are getting the news here first. Reinventing the Steel comes out on Thursday, September 10th. Nope, it's been moved back to January the 5th.
January.
Yep.
Right.
I overshot my water. They just changed this.
Times, isn't it?
Trippy.
What are the extra tracks then? Are they all like demos and stuff?
We have some demos in there. We have some covers that have never come out before, and I really wanted to hang on to those. And of course, the record companies, you know, trying to drip it for everything they fucking can.
Yeah.
You know. But anyway, let me see. Yeah, that's still on the street. January 5th now. So for vinyl. October.
Things are worth waiting for.
Oh, October 30th. You know, is going to be the street date for the CD digital. So there you go. I've had a fucking blast talking to you, fella, but I got to get on another conference call.
That's all right. No.
You've been amazing.
We've covered everything, and you've been an absolute pleasure to talk to.
Yeah, you told us so
thank
much.
you. You guys too.
Really
I love you, Londoners, man. I get off on the language and trying to figure out where everybody's from, and you know, trying to, you know, it's for me it's fun. I miss it, and that's why I did this. So.
That's great. You Rex, you've just completed episode 5 of Facing the Crowd.
Yeah.
And what a guest you've been.
Yeah, you've been fantastic.
And I'll see you at Jimmy's. Yeah.
Thank you. Hey man.
When you
come on.
When you come to the UK, we'll try and meet up again.
Hey, Sam, you're gonna have to send me the name of that gig again. I'll come play that son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Mate, I know the owner, so I can certainly get you a gig there.
Yeah, the Essex gig. Send me the name of that. The name of that joint. I'll hit my agent. All right, buddy. Well, hey, y'all have a good day or night, and I gotta finish the rest of my day.
Yeah.
Okay, buddy.
See you later, mate.
Y'all
Thank
take
you.
care.
Bye.
See you later, mate.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.